I'm still feeling some type of way after yesterday's loss, and after rewatching the game this morning, there are some glaring issues that need addressed. Let's talk about it.
Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So I rewatched the game this morning, and these issues are obvious, man. We talked about the game a bit in the post-game thoughts episode yesterday, but those are always just my initial post-game thoughts. Like, game's over, turn the camera on. This is how it felt. After rewatching the game, you learn a lot more. You know, that's always how it is. And this offensive line is exposed once again. Anytime we go against a talented front, this offensive line gets absolutely ate up. Patrick McCary had 9 pressures let up yesterday. I mean, it's just inexcusable. You know, he also leads the league in holding penalties. So you got a guy that's nonstop holding. You got a guy who's letting up pressures. I mean, I think it's definitely time for a change. There's going to be a change during this bye week. I can't imagine McCary is going to continue to start on this offensive line. Falele's not playing well either. We have a serious guard issue. And it's not that this is new news. I mean, we've kind of known this all season long. We were talking about these issues a lot when we started out 0-2, but then we start winning a lot of games and these issues get masked. You know, you play teams that don't have as talented of fronts and our line looks pretty good, and you can kind of sell yourself on, all right, they're improving, they're playing better. But every time we go against a stout defensive front, you know, KC had one, the Raiders had one, Pittsburgh had one, Cleveland had one, Philly had one, we get exposed. This line isn't even close to being good enough to be able to deal with fronts like that. And I don't know how you go on a run in the playoffs when you're going to have to face some teams like that. You know, probably not Cleveland or Las Vegas, but you're going to run into KC. You're going to run into Pittsburgh. You could run into Philly in the Super Bowl. I mean, these are lines that you're going to have to face again. I don't think McCary and Falele are the answers at guards. I don't know if we replace both of them over the bye week. I think if anyone goes, it's McCary. We can try Voorhees again. We got Ben Cleveland. We got Josh Jones. I mean, we got to try other options. And I know the coaching staff is seeing these dudes in practice, but come on. I mean, the film doesn't lie. McCary is an issue. He's a liability on this offensive line. He's too small. Dudes are just moving him out of the way. And that's another reason this line, especially McCary, has had so many holding penalties this year, because when you're beat, you're trying to hold on for dear life, and hopefully they don't call it, you know? So he's getting beat often. That's why he leads the NFL in holding penalties. And then letting up 9 pressures yesterday, it's just inexcusable. There's no way that you can have a consistent offense when your offensive line is playing like that and just getting whooped. I know Philly's got a really talented front, but this keeps happening every time we play against any talented front. And the tough thing to face is I don't know if there is an answer on this roster. You know, I definitely am more intrigued by trying out Voorhees again, who has upside for sure. I know he wasn't playing that well, but he only got a couple weeks before he got injured. And then Josh Jones, Ben Cleveland, what do we really have there? I think Josh Jones provides the most experience there. He has starting left guard experience. I feel like he's done well in the past in moments, so that would probably be my leading option, or Voorhees. But regardless, do we have, you know, the answer at guard to go on a Super Bowl run? I don't know if that's on this roster, but we have to make some changes. We have to try. This offensive line's not good enough. And going against less talented fronts, they're going to look pretty solid. You know, we're going to run the ball well, and the offense is probably going to play a lot more consistently, but that's not what's going to happen when we get into the playoffs. The regular season at this point is kind of irrelevant. Just get right. We got to win like 2 more games and we'll be in the playoffs. But how confident are you that we're going to get into the playoffs and this offense is going to be able to consistently score and go on a run to win the Super Bowl? I trust Lamar. I trust Zay. I trust Mark. I trust Ronnie Stanley and Roger Rosengarten and Tyler Linderbaum. I trust these pieces, but when you got some glaring weaknesses on the offensive line who are getting beat, it just makes your offense inconsistent, because so many drives get blown up because Lamar's just backpedaling or scrambling for his life, or when he does have time, he's not completely trusting the time because most of the game he didn't have time. The whole offense kind of blows up when the offensive line is not playing consistent ball. These games are won in the trenches on both sides of the ball. You have to be able to protect on offense to have a successful offense, and we do it in moments, but these guys ain't good enough to consistently get this done. So I would definitely be looking into other options at left guard, at right guard, if possible. I would leave Falele in there, I guess, over McCary right now, but I'm not happy with either of these guys. Haven't been that confident in this offensive line situation all year. I feel like we should have put more resources in the offseason. That's on Eric DaCosta a bit for kind of neglecting this offensive line and just thinking that going younger and cheaper was going to work. And, the trade deadline has came and passed, and there's no more moves to make. There's not a lot of guys off the street that you could just pull in and play better, and I don't know if those answers are on the roster either. That's a scary thing. But regardless, change is needed. We got a bye week to figure this out. I expect some kind of move to happen. I don't think that this same starting offensive line rolls out there in 2 weeks. Moving on to Lamar, the national media is all over him today. I'm not surprised. This is what happens. They're not watching the games in detail. I also saw a few comments. I didn't read all the comments because I just ain't been happy since this game yesterday, but I definitely saw some comments that were saying that I'm blaming Lamar for this loss, which is absolutely crazy. Just because I point out a couple missed throws, I'm talking about a lot of things that happened in this game. Lamar Jackson is not the reason we lost yesterday. There's a lot of blame to go around before I would even mention Lamar Jackson being a reason that we lost yesterday. But he's not above criticism. So if there's a few easy throws that ended drives that I feel like he could make because he's the greatest player in the world, then I'm going to call that out. That we're dissecting these games. We're talking about the outcome of the game and what went wrong, what went right, what could we have done better, what can we improve on moving forward. So don't think I'm blaming Lamar for this loss or any of these losses, to be honest with you. Lamar's the greatest quarterback in this game. I stand on that. But he's not above criticism either. So I'm going to highlight a few of his mistakes along with anyone else that goes on. And I love what I heard from Lamar in his presser yesterday. I feel like he's more locked in than ever. These losses are always a healthy reminder of what can happen if you play a little inconsistent. And I know he didn't call out the O-line or Tucker or anything like that. That's not a good idea to do publicly, but still, Lamar was definitely showing some emotion.
I'm mad, so we gonna get after it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. We gonna get after it. I can't wait till this bye get on. We got the Giants coming up. I'm ready to go. I'm just ready to go, man.
So what did she cuss you out about?
She said it was lanes I should have took and ran. But, I was just trying to let guys develop routes. We had developing routes. I was just trying to go through my progression. But, yeah, she right. I'm going to do my
Lamar,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this. I'm just mad because I feel like we should win these games and we not getting them done.
And moving on to the Justin Tucker situation, he spoke yesterday as well after the game, and this is what he had to say.
As simply as I can put it, I missed the kicks, and I'll leave it at that. I just left the points out there. I feel like I cost us this one, but it doesn't really do anybody any good to dwell on it. The only thing that we can do, that I can do, is just continue to work, move forward, take one kick at a time. I hate that I've had to have this same conversation over the course of this season, but that's something that comes with the territory in this job description. The kicks are either good or not, and today I did not do a good enough job to help our team win the football game. It's pretty raw emotionally for me. I mean, anytime we win, we come in the locker room and we all feel great, and then anytime we lose, especially for me, given my performance today, it was just not up to our standard. It's crushing. But at the end of the day, my feelings don't really matter. What matters is getting back to work and doing everything that I can to help this football team win games down the stretch.
Look, Tucker missing these kicks is inexcusable. He's absolutely killing us right now. And I understand a lot of the fans saying he needs to get cut. But for who? That's all I'm saying. For who? I think Tucker still gives you the best option. I just don't think that you can get a guy off the street. You're going to have these same inconsistent issues. There's a reason that there's so many kickers still out there that aren't getting jobs with other teams. You know how many teams are struggling with a kicker? Is a very common issue across the entire NFL. And unfortunately, we are smack dab right in that issue now with Justin Tucker. So I think the better idea is maybe over the bye week, bring in some tryouts, see what's out there. I'm not opposed to looking into it. I'm just saying I highly doubt that there's going to be a kicker out there that you could just bring in off the street and it was just going to be banging every kick. It's just not going to happen like that, especially when we get to the playoffs and there's insane pressure moments. I just feel like, unfortunately, we got to live and die with Tucker right now. After the season's probably a different story. There'll be some free agent kickers from other teams, and there'll be definitely some options for more moves. But I feel like right now we're kind of stuck unless you bring a guy off the street for a tryout and he's just unbelievable. But I feel like we got to ride with Tucker, man. I know it sucks. I don't trust him right now. I don't have confidence in him. He's killing the team. There's no doubt. I agree with all that. But I just don't think that there's a solution to it. We just got to hope he figures it out. We got to hope he gets his confidence back and starts drilling kicks. I really just don't see another solution. So I'm down for bringing some tryouts. Let's see what's out there. I'm just not expecting the Ravens to cut Justin Tucker or bench him for another option who I think is going to come in and do the same stuff that he's doing right now. We got the AFC North Hard Knocks debuting tomorrow, which might give us some more insight to what the heck is going on in this Ravens locker room. It's going to be hard for them to shield everything. HBO and Max or whoever's going to want that drama for sure. And I think that there is some drama with Marcus Williams, Deontay Johnson now potentially. I definitely think that there's some things that we'll learn about through this AFC North Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is usually week to week and kind of shows the week prior when the episode debuts, so it's not going to most likely be this Eagles game. I think it's going to be the Chargers game, and then next week's episode will probably have more of this Eagles game and so on. But it'll be interesting, man. It'll be an interesting look behind the scenes. I definitely am not as excited right now as I'm sitting here talking as I was last week about this, just because I feel like we were rolling and things were going well, and then now all of a sudden all of our issues just got exposed again, and I'm not as confident. I'm not feeling as good about the rest of the season, but I definitely am excited to learn some more information and see what the heck's going on, just a peek behind the scenes, because I feel like this has been a very weird year for the Ravens. And I really just want more insight than we have. I feel like the Ravens keep things tight, but we're seeing a lot of benching. We're seeing a lot of weird personnel decisions or lack thereof on the offensive line. And there's just so many kind of weird things going on this year. A lot of that can fall back on Harbaugh. I'm totally with you guys. I don't think that he's going to get fired right now, but that's an appropriate conversation after this season, depending on how this season goes. But he's not going to get fired mid-season, so all the fire Harbaugh chants that come after we lose, it's not happening in season. It doesn't even make sense to happen in season. We're not going to improve by firing Harbaugh today. So we can have a lengthy convo about this right after the season for sure. I definitely think that the Ravens, need to be forward thinking about that. And if that is a potential change that can benefit the organization, then I'm all for it. But it's not that easy. You can't just fire a guy who has played a huge role in building everything that's there and then expect that some replacement mid-season is just going to lift the team. But Harbaugh's not above criticism either, and his game management issues are glaring. His personnel decisions and the way he puts people in the doghouse kind of and doesn't even give them a chance anymore, and just some weird vibe I feel like going on this year. That's why I am excited for this AFC North Hard Knocks, just to get a peek behind the scenes. I feel like just hearing how guys are interacting with each other and seeing their facial expressions just even gives you more insight than we have right now. We haven't even seen a Ravens Wired. They're not even dropping Ravens Wired. So it's pretty private right now, and I feel like there's more things going on than usual. So I'm sure we'll get a lot more information this week and moving forward. The Ravens do have a bye week this week, so no football for 2 weeks for us, which sucks that we just lost. And now we got to sit here and deal with this sting and bad feeling and talk about all the things that are wrong with the team. We still are going to make the playoffs. We still have a chance to go on a Super Bowl run, but I just think that there's a lot of changes that need to happen. This team is not ready as we sit here today. There's no doubt about that. But that's it for me today. I just had to come on here and vent some frustrations and feelings and thoughts that I had bottled up. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan. has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense.